Hey everybody, welcome to the Schraders farm. We're hanging out in the barn because we were trying to stay dry. Last spring I narrowed this tractor up because we planted corn with it. It helps corn to grow better when you don't drive over it. So I narrowed the wheels up so that it will fit between the corn rows. But when you do that, you have to put steering blocks in so that you don't hit the side panels with the wheels. So what we're gonna do is widen this back out because we want to do some fall tillage with it, and it'll steer a lot shorter if we widen this back out and can take those steering blocks out. It's just a good rainy day job, and this is the first good rainy day we've had in 3 weeks. All the other rainy days have been bad rainy days because I've been fixing other things. So anyway, this is next on the list. We're gonna crush this, get it done. All right, step one is to take some sort of penetrant and spray it on the nuts so that you don't strip nuts or studs, because that would be a disaster. I'm using Blaster PB. That's what this is called. See, everyone calls this PB Blaster, but it's actually B with a, what is that thing? Apostrophe, Laster PB. Okay, so I call this Blaster PB because I'm weird like that. And I'm gonna spray it on all these. Then we're gonna do the other side at the same time so that it can penetrate. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the whole wheel off, and then we've gotta take the center dish out, flip it over, and put it on the inside of these little rings right here. You can't hardly see them, but basically there's little hangers welded to the rim right there. Okay, so step two is to jack it up so that we get the wheels off the ground. So I can't find the 20-ton jack. Well, I know where there's one down at the other shop, but I don't feel like driving to get it. But I have an 8-ton jack, or no, that's a 4-ton jack. So 8,000 pounds, I was like, that would work. And it did, but it's kind of sketchy. I don't know, we'll see if this makes a fool out of me. Okay, now we got her jacked up. We gotta zip off the inside bolts, and then we're gonna zip off the outside bolts once we get it on the ground. Oh, we got our wheel off. Now we just gotta get the dish flipped, and I need a rag. Okay, so we got the dish out. We're just gonna flip it around like it is right now. We're gonna put it in from the other side so that it's on this side of these, whatever you call these. So we gotta flip all these bolts around like this. Done. Now we put the dish back in. All right, that's done. We got the dish changed. Now I can put the tire back on. Well, when you don't have the right tool, you need to get resourceful. So I found a cultivator tooth that I could use to pry up that tire with and made it work. There we go. She's widened out. Now we'll be able to steer a bit better. So we moved that thing out easily 6 inches. It wasn't here. So now I just gotta change out these steering bolts right here. So I started switching this one around, and then I stopped for a second because I want to try something. On the wheel over here, when I switched it back, if you look at the alignment between the front and the back tire, this one only sticks out like 2 inches from the back tire, which is still set up for row crop. So what I want to do here is I'm going to try just switching the dish on the center of this wheel and keeping it on this side of the rings, and see if it will still line up with the back wheels, because I'm thinking if I can get it to at least just fit down the corn rows, but a little bit wider so that we don't have to switch it back and forth all the time. Just gonna try that real quick and see if it'll work. If it will, I'm gonna do that. That means I have to take that other side back off. So I'm kind of torn. I'm just checking to see, I'm gonna measure this. So we're gonna have a corn row at 15 inches, which is right in there, and 45 inches, which comes out to here. So if I leave it like that, we'll actually clear the corn row. The only downside is it's only going to be like 2 inches away, whereas before it would be like 4 inches away. So I don't know. What do we do? Let me just think this through. I have analyzed and decided that this is not going to work. Even though we're lined up pretty close to the edge of the back tire, it's not going to give us the steering radius that we want for fall tillage. So I might as well just take it back off, do it the other wide way, the same as that tire, so that we can steer shorter for now. And then we will just switch it back to row crop next spring. That's what I've decided we're going to do. So we do a lot of tillage in the fall around here. The reason is because in the spring, our ground is heavy and it doesn't dry out very well. So it would take us forever to dry out to the point where we could do primary tillage in the spring. Secondly, it gets a lot of the work out of the way for springtime. So my goal for this fall is to have about 100 acres plowed and the rest ripped, because it goes deeper than the plow. Tillage depth helps rooting depth, and plows can actually make a little, like a pan underneath where the plow goes. So we like to break through that. It's faster and altogether better for the future years. Third, the ground is a lot more mellow when we work it in the fall if we were to do it in the spring. Primary tillage, if you're not familiar, is anything that leaves the ground really rough. So plowing, ripping, chisel plowing, any of those types of things are primary tillage. So what we use this tractor for is moldboard plowing. A moldboard plow is like your typical old-fashioned plow. It just takes the dirt and lifts it and flops it over like this. So that's one of the ways we get fall tillage done. The second way is with the ripper, which we've had a video like a month ago where we did some ripping before we planted a hay seeding. And that thing has shanks that just go really deep in the ground and just heave the ground up. And it doesn't really invert it much. It loosens it deeper than the plow. However, the plowed ground stays fluffier and it dries out quicker in the spring. So I like to have like 100 acres plowed that we can get on early in the spring. And then by the time the plowed ground, we get that planted, the ripped ground will be ready. So that's the goal behind getting some plowing and some ripping done, and that's the method behind how we decide what we do what with. Stay tuned for more of that action.